Welcome everyone. This is Ms. Sarah Bassioni. I'll be with you today. This is a new episode of Unit 16. We'll be working on lessons 1 and 2. Our main topic for the day is animal stories. I'm looking forward to starting with you guys. Our learning objective of the day is basically talking about stories with a moral, or in other words, a lesson learned, along with reading stories that have morals, and we're going to be answering questions about them. Let's get started. Okay, guys, so you're going to be watching a video now, and I want you to think of a story that you know that teaches you a lesson. Okay, so let's get started.
Aesop was a writer in ancient Greece who wrote dozens of stories to teach us lessons about life. His stories are called fables, and the lessons are called morals. Well, what might happen if Aesop traveled through time and lived with us today?
Aesop! Aesop! Hello?
Oh, hi, Miss Rose. What's up?
I have a question about this email you sent me.
Yeah?
Well, I asked you for an updated status report, and then you wrote, "The dog and its reflection. A greedy dog had acquired a nice bone. When he came to the river, he looked down at his reflection. He thought it was another dog with a nice bone, so he dropped his bone and attacked the reflection, hoping to get a second bone. His bone fell into the river and was swept away."
Nice, huh?
Nice. Aesop, I asked for a status report update. What is this?
It's a fable. It's a story with a lesson that you have to figure out.
Aesop, I'm very busy today and...
Just try it. Ask yourself, what lesson is the author trying to teach me?
I suppose the dog had a bone, and then he tried to get another one by attacking his reflection. Now he has no bone. So I guess the author is saying you should be happy with what you have.
See? I hope that explains everything.
Aesop!
Oh, you're still here.
Aesop, that explains nothing. Where is the status update I asked for?
So, to clarify, Miss Rose, I sent you my status report.
Yes.
And then you asked for an update.
Yes.
And the dog had a bone. And then tried to get another bone. Isn't that interesting?
Aesop, are you saying that I'm the dog? And that the status report is the bone?
It's just a fable, Miss Rose.
Aesop, have you even written the update? Get it done, Aesop, and no fables this time.
Okay, guys, I'd like you to tell me what is a fable based on the video that you've just seen. You need to think about the answer. And basically, a fable is a story with a lesson that you have to figure out. So a fable is a story with a lesson that you have to know or figure out on your own. What should we ask ourselves? If I want to know the moral in a story that I'm reading, what am I supposed to ask myself? I must ask myself, what is the author trying to teach us? And thirdly, why does the dog want a bone even though he has a bone? Do you think maybe he's a little bit greedy? So if he's greedy, that means he probably wants more than what he's already got. So I want you to think about the lesson learned based on the fact that because he thought there's a reflection of a bone, he tried to get it. He actually dropped the only bone he had in his hand, or in his paw, in other words. So think about the lesson learned. So I'm going to be asking you guys to read along with me two stories by the ancient Greek writer Aesop. And we're going to be finding out what are the morals or lessons learned from both stories. Let's start with the ant and the grasshopper. The ant and the grasshopper. It was summer, and ant was collecting food for the winter. Grasshopper looked very content as he sat in the sun. The grasshopper hadn't done any work all week. "Don't be foolish," said Ant. "You know that it's hard to find food in winter. What could you do if you didn't have any food?" "It's still summer," said Grasshopper. "I refuse to think about winter yet." When the winter came, Ant had found enough food to eat until spring. Grasshopper remembered ants' wise words, but he was very hungry. Okay, guys, we're going to look at the words in red, which are basically our vocabulary words for the day. The first one is grasshopper, the second one is content, and the third is enough. The fourth is wise. So basically, the grasshopper is the insect that is green on the right-hand side of our first story, the ant and the grasshopper. Now let's read the sentence. Grasshopper looked very content as he sat in the sun. I want you to look at the body language of the grasshopper. How does he look? Look at his eyes. Look at the way he's relaxing his arms behind his neck. Do you think maybe if he's content, maybe he's happy or he's okay with something? Maybe. And the third vocabulary word is enough. Let's read the sentence to find out what it might mean. When the winter came, Ant had found enough food to eat until spring. So if you have enough food to eat, that means you have plenty of food or more than enough, right? And the last word in this part is wise. Ant's wise words. Grasshopper remembered Ant's wise words, but he was very hungry. So if I'm speaking and I use wise words, it probably means that I know what I'm talking about. I have experience and I give advice based on what I know. Now, I want you guys to read question 1 or choose the correct answer from the first part. Read 2 stories by the ancient Greek writer Aesop, and what are the morals? So what did we learn from the first story, the ant and the grasshopper? Is it always prepare for the future or you must never relax? Let's check together. Okay, so the answer is 1A, always prepare for the future. So guys, you always have to plan ahead. Do not relax and wait till the last minute to finish things. This will make you stressed, it will make you upset, and it will make you feel like you're going to look for someone to help you. You will not be independent. Now let's read the second ancient Greek story, The Goose and the Golden Eggs. One day, a farmer found that his goose had laid a yellow egg. When he picked it up, it was as heavy as metal, and he thought it was bad. He decided to take it home, and he soon found out that the egg was made of gold. Every morning, the same thing happened. The farmer soon became very rich. He sold all the golden eggs at the market. However, the farmer soon became greedy. He thought that there must be a lot of golden eggs inside the goose, so he killed it. When he had killed the goose, he found that there were no eggs inside it. So now I want you guys to look at our 3 vocabulary words in red. The first one is goose, the second one is golden, and the third one is greedy. Now, the goose is basically, if you look at the picture, it is that bird that you can see. And the second word, golden, is basically, if we look at the base word, gold, it is a color. So it is an adjective that describes the color of the egg, which is gold. And the third word is greedy. If I'm greedy, that means I want more and more. If we remember the video at the beginning of our episode, we will know that the word greedy means I want more. I never feel like I have enough. So let's look at the question to identify the moral of the second story, The Goose and the Golden Egg. So is the moral, do not kill animals, or do not want more than you need? I want you guys to think. What are we learning from this story? The goose and the golden eggs. Well, it is basically letter B, 2B. Do not want more than you need. So do not take more than you need. Just know how much you need and just go for it. Now we're going to be answering questions regarding our vocabulary words. So which of the words in red are we going to fill into the spaces? Number 1 is already done for us. Let's take a look at it together. As much as it is necessary. So another word for as much as it is necessary is the word enough. Okay, we're going to look at number 2. If I'm able to give good advice, it's probably because I am a grasshopper or content or enough or wise. Let's check the answer together. Number 2 is wise. Now let's look at number 3. Another word for happy. If I feel happy or accepting of something, It is probably because I am content. I want you to try and pronounce the words along with me, please. Now, number 4, made of gold. If something is made of gold, it's probably because it is golden. If something is made of gold, it is golden. And it also reflects the color, not only the type of metal it's made of. And number 5, wanting more money, food, etc. Than you need. So if you want more and more and more, you never have enough. You want to take as much as you can. In that case, we can call that person greedy. A person who wants a lot more is greedy. Now, number 6 is a common whitewater bird. So it's the bird that you see in the picture or the photo is basically the goose. Okay, we're going to move on to exercise 4. I want you guys to read this again and choose the correct words. So the first one is already circled for us, so let's check. Grasshopper / ant was planning for the future. So who was planning for the future, the grasshopper or the ant? Of course, it's done for us, so we know that it was the ant. If at any moment, if you feel like you're not sure, you may always go back to the text and reread. It is more than fine to do that. You are in no hurry. Let's look at number 2. Ant knew it was hard to find food that day or in the winter. So when did the ant know that it was hard to find food? Did she know on the same day or when the winter came? Let's check number 2 together. It is in the winter, so that was already too late. Let's look at number 3. The farmer wasn't sure if he should keep or pick up the egg. The farmer wasn't sure if he should keep or pick up the egg. Let's check together. It is keep. The farmer wasn't sure whether he should keep it. Number 4, the farmer soon became very either greedy or happy. Guys, what do you think? Was the farmer greedy? Yes, he was. And number 5, he killed the goose to get more eggs or because he didn't like it. Why do you think he killed the goose? I want you to remember how smart and brilliant he is. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. He killed the goose because he wanted to get more eggs. He was greedy, of course. Now we're going to wrap up lesson 1. Guys, today we talked about the moral of a story, and we read 2 stories, which are called fables. They teach us a lesson, and we answered questions. You did a great job. I'm very proud of you. We're going to move on to lesson 2. Now, our learning objective of the day is to use the past perfect correctly, the past perfect tense. And if you look at the image here, I want you to remember the rule, which is had plus past participle. So that's what you do. When do you use this? You use it when an event takes place before another event. Okay. Now let's try to answer number 1. Underline the verbs in each of these sentences, guys. Number 1 is done for us. So grasshopper hadn't done any work all week. So we're going to underline the verbs, the verb which is basically hadn't done. Now number 2. When the winter came, ant had found enough food to eat. I want you to underline the verbs in number 2. Any verb that crosses your path, or basically any verb that has had and the past participle. So number 2 is done for us, which is had done. Let's look at number 3. A farmer found that his goose had laid a yellow egg. So we're going to underline had and past participle, which is laid. Number 4. When he had killed the goose, he found that there were no eggs inside it. So we're definitely going to underline had and the past participle, which is killed. Now let's move on to the grammar box. Guys, the grammar box is your best friend. So I want you to always go back to the grammar box if you feel confused about any grammar rules. We're going to look at the first one. When we are talking about 2 events in the past. Okay, guys, so now I'm going to be talking about 2 events that happened before in the past. One of them happened before the other. In that case, what are we going to do? Let's look at the example and see. I went to the park because I had finished my homework. So the first thing I did is actually I finished my homework and then I went to the park. So we use the past perfect tense, which is had finished, to show that something happened earlier than the other. And then later on, I went to the park. So the form of the past perfect is had plus past participle for both singular and plural forms. Okay, let's look at the second example. Jumana knew who my friend was because she had met her before. I found my pen. I had left it in the classroom. So if we look at the first line or the first sentence, Jumana knew who my friend was because she had met her before. So she met my friend before. This is the first thing that happened. So she knew her next. So the first event is she had met her. And the second event is she knew her. Now let's look at the other example. I found my pen. I had left it in the classroom. So first I left my pen and then I found it. That's the second event, found. The first event is had left. So what about the negative form of the past perfect tense? Let's take a look at the example and see. We couldn't go to the concert because we hadn't booked tickets. Now, the first thing we did not do is we had not booked the tickets. So hadn't booked is the first event, and the second event is couldn't go. Now, let's look at the bottom part of our grammar box. Before our teacher came to our school, she had taught in another school. So guys, we can start the sentence with either the past perfect or past simple. The past simple is used for the later event, and the past perfect is used for the first event that takes place. Okay, so if we say before our teacher came to our school, she had taught in another school. So the first verb, which is came, is a past simple, and the second, or the one in the latter half of the sentence, is had taught, which is the past perfect. It happened later. Now, let's look at the next one. Our teacher had taught in another school before she came to our school. So she taught first, and then she came to our school. She was in another school teaching, and then she moved. So had taught is the first event, and the second event is came. Now, let's look at the next exercise, which is exercise 2. Complete the sentences with the past perfect or past simple of the verb in brackets. The first one is done for us. Let's take it as a model and read it together. The lesson had already started when he arrived in the classroom. So, which is first? The lesson started and then he arrived, right? Okay, let's look at number 2. Reem, be upset because her friend not phoned her. Now, so what verb can we put here? Reem was upset because her friend had not phoned her. Okay, let's look at number 3. Nobody know about the site because everyone forget about it. So I want you to ask yourself, which event is happening first? Number 3. Nobody knew about the site because everyone had forgotten about it. After we visit the museum, we decide to have lunch. So after we had visited the museum, we decided to have lunch. So we visited the museum and then we decided to have lunch. Number 5, Farida enjoyed visiting Sohag because she never been there before. Farida enjoyed visiting Sohag because she had never been there. Okay, so guys, we're going to move on to exercise 3. We're going to practice using had or hadn't done using the time that is displayed at the top left-hand side of our slide. So 7 o'clock in the morning. I want you to say what is something that you had or hadn't done at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to show you the models that I have created. By 7 o'clock this morning, I had taken my shower. Let's look at the second one. At 8:30 yesterday morning, I had not been up yet. So you may create your own. Please practice working on exercise 3, questions 3, 4, and 5. I'm sure you're going to do a great job. Guys, this is a wrap up for today. We have completed 3 parts. The first one is we talked about stories that have a moral, and we have read a two comprehension passages that included morals, and we have answered questions along with using the past perfect tense correctly. You did a great job. Thank you. This is Ms. Sara Basuni. I was with you today. Enjoy the rest of your day.